Now, it has been so long, we have to talk about the Jews. So, Tyler Oliveira allegedly denied entry into Israel. All right, so this is Tyler Oliveira on an El Al plane to Israel. Everything seems to be going smoothly. They caught him in the airport. They took nice pictures of him. That's Tyler in Israel. Time to expose some shit, and it's going to be crazy. And allegedly, he was denied entry. Yeah, that was actually confirmed by Tyler. I was banned from Israel and deported back to America for anti-Semitic content. Tyler Oliveira banned from Israel, bro. Oh boy, bro was going to kiss the wall and it just didn't. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm kidding. So that's pretty crazy. And I got a lot of people asking for my take on it. Well, first, Legal Mindset, a YouTube lawyer and a friend of mine, says it appears that this has been publicly confirmed by Israeli officials. It's always a good reminder that traveling to a country, particularly as a tourist, is a privilege, not a right. If an influencer's behavior is borderline questionable, expect more countries to deny entry. Now, this is going to be a really nuclear take. But the guy who makes content all the time about how different countries should not be letting people into their countries because they make their countries worse, refused to let him into their country to make a video probably criticizing something about Israel, probably. Now, that said, I wanted him to get into Israel. I did not want him to get stopped. I wanted him to get in and make a video because I've been to Israel many times, and Israel's a pretty beautiful place, honestly. The people are great. The food is great. The history, the archaeology, that's all awesome. You know, very traditional values in many of the different cities. Very low crime rate aside from the, rare exploding Arab that happens every once in a while. Bro should have bribed the border security with a couple of bagels. Maybe he would have gotten in. But honestly, I'm personally disappointed I wanted to be let in. However, that said, it is fucking hilarious. It is hilarious that the guy who basically all of his content is about how you should not be letting people into your countries if they're going to make a ruckus. And then he was denied entry into the country for potentially making a ruckus. Absolute cinema. I'm not going to sit here and make believe that's just not funny as fuck. So he got really mad, and he made a video on it. Now, I like Tyler Oliveira. I do, for the most part. I really like his videos. I think some of them are better than others. I think every group of people you should be criticizing them. We should be making our country as awesome as possible. We should be exposing all sorts of fraud. Now, the thing is, in his videos about the Jews, I think part of the reason why people were upset with him is because he titled it like the Jewish invasion of New Jersey. And it's like, Jews have been in New Jersey for like 300 years, bro. And he didn't end up exposing any fraud. He actually just ended up exposing people abusing the welfare system, which I don't like and I don't support. But like he would interview someone with like 7 kids and be like, yeah, I have 7 kids because I can get great welfare from the government. And he's like, but then that means taxpayers are paying for your shit. And they're like, yep, that's the law, I guess. Oh, well. Now, I don't support that. I don't like that. I do believe from the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread. That is what it says in Genesis. All right, you should work for a living. I don't like the welfare state, but it's not fraud. So a lot of people are very mad at him. They're calling him an anti-Semite, and I really hate that too. You know, it just sucks on all sides because I feel like the conversation is so bad faith. I don't think he's an anti-Semite for criticizing Jews or practices in different areas. Like on the one hand, I wanted him to get into Israel to do a video on Israel, but on the other hand, based Israel for not letting someone into the country. If they thought he was gonna, stir shit up. Based, actually. I think all countries should be doing that. Yeah, Israel border laws are actually awesome. Unfortunately, on the internet, you're not allowed to have nuanced stances on anything. You're just going to get shredded from every side. And no, I'm sure I'm going to see some Jews upset at me for saying, but he's an anti-Semite. And I don't think he is. And I'm sure I'm going to see some, anti-Israel people being like, what's Israel trying to hide? I don't know. They have border security. This is new. Tyler Oliveira makes negative videos on literally every single place he visits. All right? Don't get me wrong. So no, I don't think it's, anti-Semitism, but also at the same time, I get why Israel didn't want to let him in. Based, actually, that they have a border. Anyway, expect shrieking in the comment section, but let's see what he had to say. Before getting too deep into the chaos, free cash was promised to me 3,000 years ago. One thing I recently added to my daily routine is using free cash for a few minutes here and there. If I'm gonna play games as a time sponge, I might as well make some money out of it. Free cash is a fun and easy way to earn real money by doing simple tasks while already on your phone. Play games, complete surveys, do simple tasks, and turn your bathroom break into an investment. I've been enjoying playing Call to Dragons on free cash, a high payout strategy-based building game. You get instant payouts with a really easy process through PayPal, Amazon, or Visa. There's already over $250 million paid out to over 60 million users worldwide. It's a win-win. They get someone to test out their games and fill out their surveys, and you get paid. Use the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to sign up and get a $10 bonus today. Now back to the chaos. Every individual sign up literally supports the channel, so if you could click the link in the description and do the thing, that would be very appreciated.
I just got banned from Israel.
You only, if you watch my content, then you must expect the nuanced take. It doesn't always make everyone happy, but it is the most honest. All right, let's go.
Upon arrival and deported back to America for anti-Semitic or anti-Israel content.
Well, I don't think he's anti-Semitic personally, even though, you know, I think the packaging of the videos calling it like a Jewish invasion is bad. But based, border security, let's go.
I flew out of New Jersey on an El Al flight to Tel Aviv on a plane with basically all Jews and had plenty of pleasant
I wonder why there were so many Jews on the plane to Israel. Do Jews control the flights to Israel?
Conversations and positive interactions on my way there. Believe it or not.
Look, I know Jews in real life. This might be a shock to you. And I don't think I know anyone that hates Tyler Oliveira. They're like, yeah, the packaging of those videos were bad, obviously. But I don't think anyone actually hates this guy. I think it's just fringe, loud voices online that are calling him an anti-Semite. And it sucks. It sucks. It's like the leftists calling everything racist and white supremacy. It's like the loud, you know, woke Jews screaming about anti-Semitism.
Believe it or not, a lot of Jews were excited for me to visit their country.
I was excited to see him there, man. I wanted to see the video of him going out there, or whatever the fuck he was gonna do. Exposing Hasidic Jews for wearing gigantic furry hats in the middle of the fucking summer where it's boiling hot. You know, something like that. Exposing American politicians kissing the wall. Why are they kissing the wall? What does it taste like?
We had it, boys. We're headed to Tel Aviv, baby.
You see, that's what I mean. No one actually hates this guy. It's only fringe online voices.
But of course, I was being tracked the entire time, and photos of me circulated in Jewish WhatsApp groups as I was
What can I say? The Jews are organized.
asleep in the middle seat of the back of the plane.
Oh, it sucks, bro.
12 hours.
Honestly, that's worse than getting deported. The LL seats, by the way, all right, I'm gonna spill all this Jewish knowledge on you. The LL seats are slightly narrower than the average seats on like American airline planes. All right, I think it's because they're trying to squeeze a couple extra shekels out of you by squeezing in some extra seats. But those seats fucking suck. The LL seats are bad. All right, you know, I'm just being honest here.
Middle seat later, I land in Israel, and my passport scan says to go find an agent.
All right.
I'm then brought to the back office where my interrogation begins.
That's rough.
I tell him I'm here to enjoy the beaches of Tel Aviv.
No, you're not. So you lied. You were there to make a documentary of some sort. I'm not criticizing you. You have every right to do that, sure. But you weren't there to enjoy the beaches.
See some holy sites and maybe do some street interviews asking some of the world's oldest questions.
That's fair.
He
like, why were the Jews kicked out of so many countries?
And asks if I'm
old
here to
questions.
provoke Jews, if I'm hiding anything, if I'm anti-Semitic. I tell him no, obviously. The agent then goes like, you can just be honest. This is Israel.
What the fuck Italian accent was that? What are you doing?
As if I said, yeah, I'm anti-Semitic, that would...
They actually said, you can be honest. Honesty is best policy here in Israel. Israel honesty is very nice. Would you like bagel with cream cheese, maybe?
somehow go over well upon arriving to Israel. But I tell him, no, I'm not. I don't hate anyone, and I don't. He proceeds to watch my videos about the Hasidic Jewish communities and
You see, but like, for example, he titled this video, and I think this is why he gets so much shit for it, Inside the New York Town Invaded by Welfare-Addicted Jews. For the record, this is a New York town built by welfare-addicted Jews. Kiryas Joel is in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, upstate New York, built by these Hasidic Jews. Right? It wasn't invaded by the Jews. It was literally built by them. It was nothing before the Jews went and built a little city there. Just to understand context. Right? So I think people see a title like this and immediately crash out.
Upstate New York.
Even though I think the content in that video was fine.
New Jersey.
Right, and also Jewish invasion. It's like, but they were there for 300 years. Jews were in New Jersey for 300 years. Is that really an invasion? So again, I think that is where so much of the shit comes from. Now, it's YouTube. You gotta clickbait to survive. You gotta make a title that sounds good. Right? You can't make a video titled, I spoke to a couple of Jews in New Jersey. No one fucking cares. But if you expose the Jewish invasion, people are going to click on your videos. And I get the clickbait grind. I absolutely do. But that, I think, is a lot of why he gets so much shit.
Where I examine how they use welfare to afford 7 to 10 kids. I try to...
Again, not fraud. However, I think it sucks. And that's why I think we need to abolish welfare entirely. I hate welfare. I hate that welfare goes to people that could get a job. All right, I am tired of my taxes going to these people. I'm sorry, I'm way too Jewish to have my tax dollars go to the Jews, okay? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm tired of it. And now, again, the funny thing is, it's like, would you rather a community of Jews on welfare, it's true, which I don't like, but a community of Jews on welfare with zero crime, with zero drugs, with conservative values, or would you prefer a, let's say, ghetto in the Bronx, also on welfare, 1,000 times the size of Kiryas Joel, but yes drugs, yes killing, single family households, gigantic prison populations, riots and mayhem. Like, let's be honest, they're both on welfare and they're very different.
Explain the nature of the videos, and he eventually tells me to go sit down while they deliberate my fate. About 30 minutes later, he tells
me got like 4 old Jews there deliberating what they're gonna do with Tyler Oliveira.
Me to come back in the room and states that he's spoken to his higher-ups and
shit.
that I've been denied entry into Israel due to anti-Semitic or anti-Israel content.
Bro, you know that they just went on Twitter and they looked him up and they saw some loud Jew calling him an anti-Semite. They're like, okay, you gotta go. And now I'm gonna be really hard here when I say that based border security. Why the fuck would you let someone in if you don't know? Right? They don't know if he's anti-Semitic or not. Why would they take the chance? Why would they take the chance? Let's go. Country with borders. You love to see it.
I'm then handed a paper that I have to sign, which falsely claims that I've attempted to illegally immigrate to Israel.
That's crazy. Bro, that had to be like a translation, right?
Which is obviously bullshit, and I assume was done.
So why'd you sign it?
To prevent me from re-entering Israel for as long as legally possible.
Wait, so why'd you sign it? You should have said I'm not trying to enter Israel.
Despite him telling me the real reason was due to anti-Semitic content. In fact, I checked Twitter and see that Israel's Minister of Diaspora and Combating Anti-Semitism is retweeting an Israeli news article that claims Tyler Oliveira, the Jew-hating YouTuber, is expelled from Israeli border on the orders of the Israeli minister.
Damn.
The fuck? He then quotes, "I'm proud to have denied entry to Israel today to an unfortunate YouTuber who is using the..."
Bro, was that Laura Loomer that he blurred out? Bro, why is she fucking everywhere, bro?
Harassment of Jews as a way to get clout on social media. Furthermore, let this be a lesson to all Jew haters and supporters of BDS.
Now, by the way, I think deporting people that you think are going to stir up a ruckus in your country is fucking awesome. But I don't think Tyler Oliveira is like an anti-Semite.
Whatever that means. Now, for a second, imagine if me criticizing welfare use in black communities in America somehow got me banned from countries in Africa.
But they won't do that because they fucking love if you came to Africa. Are you kidding me? In your wallet, you have more money than the GDP of the Congo, okay? What are we talking about?
Or the welfare users in Appalachia somehow got me banned from Europe. This exception only seems to exist when it's regarding Jews.
Yeah.
So I tell the agent, man, it's a shame I can't visit the biggest democracy in the Middle East. And he goes, well, maybe you can visit Afghanistan.
Brutal.
They confiscate my passport, take me to a brief holding room with a bunch of Filipinos, and then tell me I have a flight out at midnight, which is like 8 hours later. Now, it's clear to me at this point that the unspoken strategy is they want the accusations of anti-Semitism they hurl at people like me to eventually become true, to then justify their very accusations.
That's a crazy thought process. I just think that they didn't want to chance it. You know, like they're in the middle of a war right now. I know technically we're in the middle of a war too, but we're in the middle of a war across the world. They're in the middle of a war where people in northern Israel are still running into their bunkers many times because Hezbollah is still firing rockets at them. You know, Trump literally just announced that he is planning on starting things up again when it comes to Iran, like next week. All right, breaking, Trump is preparing for another round of strikes in Iran. All right, which means that they're going to start striking Israel. You know, Hamas is currently rearming in Gaza, by the way. All right, and they are doing their best. This is happening in Gaza right now. You know, adults and children both. Right, so it's a busy country, all things considered. And if they have strong immigration policies, I get it, actually. You know, I think that's more likely than trying to turn you into an anti-Semite to validate their concerns later.
But
I just think Israel fucking sucks at PR.
Problem is, there is no hatred in my heart, only a resolve to see things as they are.
I actually believe that. See, that's the, I don't think the Israeli ministers believe that, but hey, they didn't call this guy to ask my opinion. They spoke to Laura Loomer. And according to Laura Loomer, everyone's a terrorist, okay? All right, so in my opinion, I don't think he's an anti-Semite.
To try to answer this, why am I, as an American, not allowed to question my fellow Americans who happen to be Jewish and how our collective tax dollars are being spent?
You have every right to question them. No one's telling you you're not allowed to question them. No one's telling you you're not allowed to make these videos. Literally no one. 0 people are telling you that. That doesn't mean that another country needs to require your entry, needs to allow you to enter their country. I don't understand what the problem is.
America. And why, if my videos happen to involve Jewish people, am I now labeled a Jew-hating anti-Semite while our great...
Dude, if we had Hassan Piker deported from America, I would celebrate. And he would be like, but why? I'm only just talking about American policy. Yeah, but he also supports terrorism and hates America. All right, so again, I don't think that Tyler Oliveira is like a Hassan Piker. I've been standing up for the guy. I don't think he's an anti-Semite at all. But from the perspective of Israel, that's seeing Laura Loomer crashing out on Twitter, who for some reason is a high up in the American government and has the ear of like every American politician on the planet somehow. And she has done some pretty good investigative journalism, I'm not going to lie, but she crashes out on everything. They're going to see her calling him some violent anti-Semite guy. They're just not going to chance it. You know, and I get that from the perspective of a foreign country. If there was a Muslim guy in Pakistan who's crashing out and screaming about America every single day, America bad, America evil, America's genocidal, I hate Americans so fucking much, and then they want to come to America, I fucking hope America turns them away at the border. It's their right to question America, it's their right to hate America, but it doesn't mean we need to let them come in, you know?
Greatest ally, Israel, that is the single largest recipient of American foreign aid in our history, then deport...
I am against foreign aid, by the way. I feel like I need to repeat this all the time, because I saw some guy make an entire video saying that Nux is trying to give all American money to Israel. Yeah, no, I'm against all foreign aid. I'm way too Jewish to be giving money to Israel.
It's me, while their government officials publicly paint a target on my back while I'm still in their country. Adjusting for inflation, U.S. aid to Israel from 1951 to 2022 totaled $317 billion.
That's a lot of dollars. That's still less than what our funding was for the Ukraine war, by the way. And unlike the Ukraine war, where we got fucking nothing out of it, $350 billion for fucking jack all, you know, again, I'm against foreign aid. I don't want to be giving infinite money to other countries, including Israel. But ultimately, we gained a lot from Israel. They battle-tested our weapons. We have their tech. We're building the Golden Dome, which is built off their technology, the Iron Dome. We use their technology in our military and in our hospitals and in our cell phones. They're basically our attack dog in the Middle East. They do whatever we want. Trump tells them stop the war, they stop. Start the war, they start. We gained tremendously from their intelligence. We thwarted 3 Iranian assassination attempts against Donald Trump, largely because of Mossad intelligence. Now, again, I want to make this clear. I am against foreign aid, but the idea that we get nothing in return, and that it's the #1 biggest outlet of our money disappearing, is insane. 5 years worth of our foreign aid to Israel was lost to Somalia in Minnesota. We spend $60 billion a year on NATO, where we get literally 0 out of that alliance. All right, just to be clear, 0, $60 billion a year. And again, I am against foreign aid to Israel too. I am America first. I believe we need to be using our money on American shit. But we gain a lot out of the Israeli alliance. We do, objectively. Not enough to pay for all of it, but definitely more than NATO.
Largest recipient of American foreign aid since World War II. But fun fact, we don't even have a formal mutual defense treaty with Israel. Yes.
That's fucking awesome, by the way.
Our greatest ally is not even technically our ally. For perspective, the U.S. has formal mutual...
Wait, you want a formal mutual defense arrangement so every time some Arab country attacks Israel, we are forced to go to war to defend Israel? Like, are you serious? Like, again, I feel like these people just say things sometimes. Like, what do you even mean? You want a formal defense agreement, so if Hamas attacks Israel, we need to send the U.S. military to Gaza, and every time Lebanon attacks Israel, we need to send the U.S. military to Lebanon? What are we even talking? Every time the Houthis attack Israel, we need to send the U.S. military to Yemen? Are you serious?
Defense treaties with all 32 NATO members, Japan,
which is a waste of money,
South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Thailand. And these treaties legally obligate the U.S. to come to their defense.
Doesn't that suck? Man, I would hate to have I hate those treaties. We're just spending money for what? I don't like those treaties at all. Sure, it's nice that we have, like, in writing that we're friends and buddies, but, like, why should we be spending money on their defense? Let's be honest.
If attacked and vice versa. The obligation
Oh, yeah,
is
vice versa. Yeah, Australia is going to help us if we're attacked by Russia. Are you serious?
a two-way street, but not with Israel. In summary, we've given Israel over $300 billion in
Way too
cumulative
much.
aid. We
He's right.
vote UN resolutions to shield them from international law all the time.
I mean, they vote for UN resolutions to shield us too, by the way.
We provide them with the most advanced weapons on Earth.
And vice versa. And they provide us with most advanced weapons on Earth too.
American troops die in conflicts to uphold Israeli interests.
There is zero evidence for this. This is actually just not true. We have never gone to war for Israel. This is a common talking point that I see all the time, and it is not true. Everyone points to the Iraq War. Israel was against the Iraq War. We went to war with Iraq because CIA and MI6 from England had testimony that Iraq was building weapons of mass destruction. And we went in this destructive, infinite, horrible war in Iraq. And you know what? It was kind of pointless. And also, Israel was against it. Israel at the time said, I do not want you to go to war with Iraq. Iran is the enemy. They said this 20 years ago, man. Bro, it's like tiring listening to this every time. It's not true. Bro, like, let me try to see if I can find the article for you. So here's an article from 09, 01, 07. All right, Israel warned U.S. against Iraq invasion. Oh, sorry, Israel warned us against Iraq invasion, U.S. official says. All right, Chief of Staff, former Secretary of State reveals that a large number of senior Israeli officials warned Bush administration that the invasion of Iraq would be destabilizing to the region. The Israelis were telling us Iraq is not the enemy, Iran is the enemy, he says. Well, the Israelis were right, actually. You know, it's crazy, bro. I don't know where this shit comes from.
All without a formal obligation for Israel to defend the U.S. No treaty, no legitimate alliance, no defense commitment. So, they'll take our money, they'll let our soldiers die to eliminate existential threats to...
Again, we have not gone to war for Israel ever, all right? There is zero evidence that we have ever gone to any war for Israel, period. That's just true. That's just, I don't even know what to say. However, yeah, we spend way too much money on them. Absolutely, we have to stop giving them money.
Israel... But I'm the second coming of Hitler if I get on a plane to visit...
Oh, chill out. All those Filipinos that were getting deported with you were also the second coming of Hitler. Chill out, man. You're not that... No.
The country that's the largest recipient of foreign aid that my tax dollars go towards. I get deported and called a Jew hater by Israeli officials for what?
See, I actually think he's right about this. They should not be calling him a Jew hater. That's disgusting. It really is. Like, I'm so tired of the whole, like, calling people racists and anti-Semites and shit like that. That's gross. That really is.
Looking for the truth? Is that illegal in Israel, the biggest democracy in the Middle East?
No, but it's not your right to enter a foreign country. If they think for some reason you will be violent or whatever.
I've refrained from exploring this topic to the degree in which it deserves because I wanted to first report on important topics, boots on the ground in Israel, before I was inevitably banned. But now, there's nothing to lose. I'm effectively perma-banned from entering. I think it's time we examine how a small country of about 10 million people seemingly exert more control of American foreign policy than any other country on Earth.
You know, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see his deep dives on how Israel controls America, because I've seen a lot of them so far, a lot of deep dives on that, and zero evidence is presented in, like, almost any of them. For anyone that actually cares about geopolitics, we control Israel, and that is why we give them so much fucking money. Way too much money, but that's why we give them money, because we control Israel. Anyone that thinks Israel controls us probably listens to a couple of podcasts but didn't do the research. So I am excited for Tyler Oliveira to do the research. I am excited for him to actually do some digging and find out that actually... that's bullshit. We are America, the greatest country on the planet. We are not controlled by 10 million people in the Middle East. Sand, New Jersey isn't making our actual political stances and creating our institutions. For those of you that need a refresher, the Israeli lobby, I'm against all foreign lobbying, by the way, including Israel also, but the Israeli lobby paid about $100 million during the last election cycle. Qatar spent $250 million. Saudi Arabia spent $250 million. Japan spent $400 million. China spent $500 million. Big Pharma spent $500 million. All right, so like the reality is really simple. Lobbying sucks. Our government is corrupt. And if you think 10 million Jews that are constantly at war in Sand, New Jersey are controlling the greatest, most powerful nation on the planet, you might have fell for the psyop. That said, I don't want to send any hate to Tyler Oliveira. I really like him. I feel like he's jaded because he's being called a Jew hater by the government of Israel. And I don't think he is one. I do support Israel's right to deport people. I would support England to stop small boats of rapists coming into their country. Not to equate Tyler Oliveira to Pakistani rape gangs. But yeah, I actually think it's awesome for different countries to actually uphold their sovereignty. I wish more countries would do it. I wish our country would do it.